I wouldn't even know where to begin, even if I was allowed. Is there any way more fitting for me to live my life than that phrase? Who knows? But good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a very low energy, low stakes Thursday stream. Feeling pretty chill, pretty sleepy, just otherwise fairly horizontal tonight. So we're just gonna have a little bit of fun, I think. And of course, there are few better ways in the world to have fun than to have it in the company of the one that you love the most in this world. Meaning I am joined by the gorgeous Paige.
Hello.
She is also clearly feeling a bit low energy, and on the opposite end of the scale, we have the always high energy PP lurking around doing her thing. Such is the wonders of being a tiny dog, with no troubles, no cares, no worries. And we're going to take a little bit of that energy and sprinkle it over ourselves tonight. No worries, no troubles. Only cute anime nonsense, cool music, and whatever else is going to happen. So how is everyone? I hope you have been having a wonderful week so far. Since last we spoke, be that Tuesday, be that last Thursday, whatever. I hope you've been having a wonderful time. It's been pretty bog standard over here. Busy weekend, as mentioned before. Fairly vaguely present week. Who even knows? But we're back, so we're going to continue on learning more about this bizarre world. Oh, excuse me. Oh. So we do need to... And that corridor is the armory. That's correct. That's where we're going. Normally accessed to the engine on the bridge, but since you're the security officer, you've got access to your key card. I do. Do you want to move to the armory? I do. You swipe your key card to the card reader set into the terminal by the armory's door. There's a slight delay, but quickly enough, the terminal flashes a message. Access granted, and the door slides open. That's a lot of guns for such a small ship. First thing that you notice about the armory is that the benches and lockers remind you of the changing rooms from the training center at the military academy on Europa Colony. As you walk past them, you take a closer look and realize that they're the exact same kind of benches used on the larger ships you've been stationed on, which had sports facilities and changing rooms on board. Instead of sports clothing and equipment, these lockers are filled with a selection of combat gear, from body armor or electroshock weapons to a variety of small and light weapons. You know, this is the first time we've ever actually been inside a ship's armory, she said with a yawn. That's not really surprising. It's the only security detail that would have access. It's only the security detail that would have access. Hello, PP. Please don't start something with the roof. Thank you. Even in a situation where a ship's expected to encounter a boarding party, it's security's responsibility to distribute weaponry to the crew in advance. It's to ensure there's no panic, or crew don't get a hold of weaponry they're not trained to use. Huh. That's standard regulation. You should know that. Well, all I remember from my firearm training was when I dropped my electroshock weapon and accidentally shocked one of the other girls from operations. Our trainer made me use a hand-cranked battery charger to recharge all the power packs as punishment. Brutal. That must have taken forever. You bet. But you should have seen my gun show afterwards. Pew pew. That is by far and away the most John joke this game has presented us with so far. Which reminds me, the captain said I was authorized to collect my sidearm. I should get it whilst I'm here. This locker contains electroshock weapons. They're non-lethal and intended to be used for crew control in case of a mutiny or violence that breaks out for some other reason. The spacesuits in here are for the ship's security detail. Oh, such a snuggly little girl. She's cuddling down with her mummy. They're a little bit more robust than the suits handed out to the rest of the crew. Oh shit. For obvious reasons, but aside from that, they don't offer much of a tactical advantage. This locker contains a variety of small arms and light weapons. They're only for use against external hostile forces. Even then, their stopping power is relatively low because of the dangers of using live rounds inside a ship. See what Cassandra has to say. So, have you ever got to use any firearms? Why do you ask? Well, I know you're security, but you never tell me about anything exciting. I always imagined you facing down bad guys with some scary pistol the size of my forearm saying cool lines like, "How many shots did I fire? I don't know myself, but the question is, do you feel lucky, bub?" You've been watching way too many old movies. Oh, not even once. Most of my job has been dealing with crew members who get a bit tetchy after being cooped up on a ship for too long and start fights with each other. Even then, I tend to break things up and talk them down. Most of the time, no one even ends up in the brig. You've got to have done something more exciting than that. Well, I knew you were an exciting action hero. Tell me. So this one time a pilot found out that someone on the maintenance team had been trying to hit on his girlfriend. He got so mad that he got into his armored frame and used it to corner the guy in the hangar. No way. He was threatening to turn the guy into paste, and it made a real mess of some cargo containers. Because the hangars are a low gravity zone, I was able to make a jump from the gangway to the armored frame and then overrode the cockpit access from outside. The pilot was too focused on this engineer to notice me. Whoa, a frame jack. Did you use a cool line when the cockpit opened? Pick on someone your own size or something? No way. I put 50,000 volts into the guy's shoulder the second I had a clear shot. Oh, come on, you're no fun. That sounds about right, though. Accessing a weapon locker sends an automatic alert to the bridge. Even if I wanted to examine the weapon ring, I wouldn't want to set off an alarm up there without telling anyone what I was doing. This is the weapons locker with the electroshock weapons in. I'm authorized to take one small weapon from here as part of my role as security officer. This one will do. An electroshock gun. Very fancy looking. It even has a handy dandy arrow to show you which direction to aim it. What's that? It's just my standard issue duty weapon for my role as security officer. It fires a barbed projectile that contains a miniature battery. It's non-lethal, but more than enough to stop someone in their tracks. I see. Absolutely not. Oh, come on.
She's making sucking noises as she cleans it.
Oh, yeah, she's gonna make sure she gets super clean.
It's so gross. Like a snorting pig.
Snorf. She is the snorfing pig. Now I've got the gun. I have no more tasks, apparently. So I guess we're just gonna move back out. With Cassandra leading the way, the two of you leave the armory behind you and step into the aft thoroughfare. Cassandra pauses for a moment, looking left, then right, before turning back to face you with a smile on her face. Well, that's it, NJ. Consider yourself officially acquainted with all that there is to be acquainted with on board the one and only JFS Gundog. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I did. It's probably up there in my top 5 ship orientations. Top 5? Okay, you're right. Top 3. What? Maybe a triple shift to start your time aboard the Gundog is more to your taste. Well, that did happen to me on board the Thunderbolt, so if that didn't happen, I guess it'd definitely be my favorite orientation ever. What a coincidence. It looks like your schedule's clear until tomorrow morning. Whoa. In that case, 5 stars. Great tour, especially the guy. So now that the tour's over, your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow. If you want, we can take another look at anywhere on the ship. Or if you want to call it a day, that's cool too. I think I'll keep looking around. Take another look around. It's best if I'm completely up to speed on everything there is to know about the ship before I start my duties. Roger that, Lieutenant. Let's go. But when you decide that you've got everything figured out, it's probably best to head back to your quarters. You've got a big day ahead of you. Didn't I say at some point that I would buy her some lunch or something? Oh, yes. Cassie, shall we get some chips or something? Oh, and some chocolate too, and maybe soda. You're going a bit overboard, aren't you? Nope, snacks are on you, remember? You lost the race, so cough up. No way, you're serious? Deadly. Now get that card ready, Lieutenant. This is going to be expensive. Hey, Cassie, have you had lunch yet? Should we get something from the vendor? Oh, sorry, I forgot about what you discussed with the doctor. No, it's fine. I guess missing out on my favorite hamburger or pineapple salad is a small price to pay for not putting up with... well, you know. Wait, so how do I... how do I... huh, okay. Pretty weird seeing a missile this quiet. I like it. On bigger ships, you've always got to queue for the machines, or they've run out of the best snacks before your day out of port. On a ship like this, you can get whatever you want, whenever you want. How much of a problem have you had with the snacks running out before? You don't even want to know. On the Reliant, I was operating on a preferential shift for chocolate system. It was tricky, but I did what I had to. It sounds like it breaks a ton of regulations. Regulations only get broken if you get caught. Yes, that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. So I guess I can't. I thought we would be buying chocolate, but I guess not. It's time to go back to your quarters. So now that the tour's over, your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow. If you want, we can take another look at anywhere on the ship, or if you want to call it a day, that's cool too. I think I'll call it a day. I think that's enough for now. I should probably go over the mission logs before tomorrow and get an early night. I know the captain seems pretty relaxed, but I don't want to make a habit of late starts. So responsible. I've got the late shift tonight, so maybe I'll get a nap in too. Okay, I'll see you later then. Well, look who it is. The Kaliki coward. You don't even need to look behind Cassandra to know who's standing at the entrance to the corridor. Although you'd recognize the mocking tone anywhere, the real giveaway is the nickname. One you'd thought you'd escaped a long time ago. Hansen Cruis, or as you knew him, Kaliki 3. Of the members of the Kaliki squadron who'd taken part in the battle, he'd been the only one to return. Even then, that had been after the ceasefire had been signed, a full 13 hours after he'd launched. From what you'd heard from other crew members, he'd survived by playing a game of cat and mouse with the enemy forces in a debris field. By shutting down the majority of his systems and hiding amongst the wreckage, he'd been able to launch surprise attacks, taking down his pursuers one by one. When he came back to the Kaliki and saw your armored frame still suspended from its restraints, he had instantly blamed you for the squad being wiped out. If you'd taken off when you were supposed to, he argued, the squadron would have been at full strength, enough to survive the surprise attack. No amount of technical data or arguing that it had been physically impossible for you to launch would change his mind. The destruction of the Kalaiki squadron was in your hands. The worst bit was that you weren't entirely sure he was wrong. What's up, Lieutenant NJ? You're not thinking of finishing your first day without meeting an old friend, right? When Haru came and told me that some lieutenant called NJ Finch was our new security officer, I had to come and take a look. No way it could be that wimp from back on Kalaiki. They'd had to have been dishonorably discharged for dereliction of duty. But I guess the JCF is so desperate that they'll hang on to anybody, no matter how much of a screw-up they are. How'd you end up here? They decided you couldn't handle a full-size ship, so had to put you up with the smallest crew they could find. You instinctively make your hands into fists, but unclench them quickly before Hansen notices. You haven't been stationed on the same ship as him since the Kalaiki, but you'd run into him a few times on board the colonies whilst you were both on shore leave. Each time it ended badly. Tell Hansen to stand down. You almost lash out at Hansen, but stop yourself before you do. The two of you are on this ship together, whether you like it or not, and the last thing you want to is let him know that you can get a rise out of you so easily. You fight the urge to just draw your electroshock weapon here and now. It'd be easy to put an end to it this way, you think, but you know that in the long term it'd probably be the worst decision you could make. Instead, you grit your teeth. Stand down, Ensign. This kind of behavior's out of line. Oh no, what are you going to do, Lieutenant? Confine me to the quarters? On what grounds? Hurting your feelings? Give me a break. Where was this spine 4 years ago, huh? You're happy to throw your weight around against your comrades, but not the enemy. See what I was saying, Haru? The lieutenant here is a coward, and has been since day one. Won't fight, won't even stand up for themselves. Ensign Cruis, you stop this right now. Lieutenant Finch is... Haha, can't stand up for yourself, so getting this ditz to do it for you, is it, Lieutenant? Cruis, stop this right now and apologize, or I'll order Lieutenant Finch to throw you into solitary and write you up myself. You're welcome to try, Lieutenant Commander, but I don't think that your security officers got it in them to even try. You think you can take me on, Finch? Remind Hansen that orders are orders. You step up to Hansen and place your hands on your hips, squaring directly up to him. You look into his eyes and wait for him to blink. A few tense seconds pass, but eventually he blinks first. You hold on to the sigh of relief for now. Ensign Cruis, that's a request from a senior officer. I suggest that you don't force the Lieutenant Commander to make it an order. You're so close that you can feel Hansen's hot breath on your face as he exhales through his nose and smirks. Why is that? Worried about what you'd have to do when I disobey it? Come on, Lieutenant. What's it going to be? You going to show me who's boss on board this ship? You going to make me obey that order? You want to think long and hard about what you're going to do, Lieutenant? Never know when you're going to need a friend like me. I mean, we're all crewmates here, right? I'm not heartless. I'll even help losers like you out if you've done me a solid or two. So maybe you should act like a professional for once. Or are you going to do something stupid and show the Lieutenant Commander that you're just as much of a screw-up as she is? Rude. Take a deep breath and stand up. With Hansen's hot breath on your face, you do everything you can to not bat an eye at that last comment, but despite your best effort, your hands are clenched into fists. As much as you'd like to put 50,000 volts through him for insubordination and insulting a senior officer, you know that would be letting him win. Instead, you glare into the ensign's eyes for a few more seconds. You can almost feel Hansen's hatred for you radiating from him like an aura, and it takes all the bravado you can muster not to step down. The two of you stand like this for longer than you'd like, until... Would you two knock it off already? I'm on duty this evening. I don't want to have to update the captain that both her new security officer and lead pilot are in the sickbay. All because their egos are too big to be on the same ship together. So both of you stand down, and that's an order. Both you and Hansen are taken aback for a moment, like two school children who've been caught in a playground spot. You turn from Cassie to Hansen and back, trying to come up with something to say. Similarly, Hansen's air of machismo has been dented by this surprise outburst. No, I don't want to hear it from either of you. You're both in the JCF, so maybe you should start acting like it. Ensign Cruis, I want you to report to the Chief at 0400. You're helping her clean the organic processing filters. As for you, Lieutenant Finch, we'll discuss this later. Hey, you can't. Ensign? Piss off. That's an order. For the first time since you've met him, Hansen looks lost for words. He stands there for a moment, mouth agape. Yeah, Lieutenant Commander, I hear you loud and clear. Hansen thrusts both hands into his jacket pockets, turning on his heel and heading away towards the thoroughfare. He cocks his head, gesturing to Haru to follow him as he leaves. Before the pair are fully out of sight, he turns back to face the two of you. Good thing someone on this crew is able to keep everyone in line. Doesn't seem like our security officer's up to the task. With his parting shot fired, both Haru and Hansen disappear around a corner. You and Cassie stand there watching the space where they'd be. Cassie crosses her arms as she taps her foot furiously. What an absolute dick. I told you, he's a real... And you, what was that performance all about? I've told you about him. He doesn't back down. You've got to... I know, but you can't let him get to you like that otherwise. Otherwise he'll keep coming after... But you can't let him get to you like that. Otherwise he'll just keep coming after... Wow, okay. This sentence has not been very well structured. Sorry, man. Otherwise he'll just keep coming time after time until one of you does something they regret. Euphemism. You pause for a moment and feel your cheeks grow flush. You're suddenly filled with a sense of shame for being caught out acting so childishly. Hey, don't worry about it. I know what the two of you have been through, and, to be honest, I'd figured he was a real asshole from the moment I met him. Plus, he's going to be busy helping the Chief clean out those filters for the next month, so don't worry too much about running into him much anytime soon. Still feeling a bit sheepish about your behavior in front of Cassie, you manage a smirk. Thanks for stepping in there. I shouldn't have stooped to his level. I don't think I did. Don't worry about it. Just take it easy and don't let what he said get to you. I'm going to go get ready for my shift, so I'll see you soon. Yeah, sure. I guess I'll catch you in the morning. Sounds good. Oh, one more thing. What's that? Cassie steps forward, places her hands on your waist, and stands on tiptoes, raising her face up to yours. You close your eyes and tilt your head slightly in response. Aww. At the moment that her lips meet yours, you forget everything that just happened. All you can focus on is the softness and delicate warmth. After a moment, Cassie slowly moves back and you open your eyes to find her gazing at you contentedly. You both share the same gentle smile before she steps away. Very sweet. Sleep well, NJ. As Cassie walks away, she spins on her heels, gives you a quick wave, and then turns back, heading further down the corridor. As you step into your quarters and head over to your bunk, the door hisses shut behind you. You stand there for a moment with a smile on your face, before you let out a sigh and sit down. Staring at nothing in particular, you mull over the day's events and Cassie's words from earlier. Big day ahead tomorrow, huh? You sigh. We'll see. April 23rd. Planetary calendar 214. 4 days have passed since the JFS Gundog departed on its mission to rendezvous with the JFS O'Brien. In that time, her crew, including Lieutenant Finch, have fallen into the easy rhythm of life aboard the ship. Even as the Gundog enters the outer limits of Jovian space and is due to meet with the O'Brien, there is little for the crew to do, and a general sense of routine permeates the atmosphere. Outer Jovian space, aboard the Jovian patrol ship, JFS Gundog. You're just finishing the last of your coffee as a shrill series of electronic pips begin sounding from your wristwatch. Without looking to check the time, you turn your alarm off the alarm and raise from your seat, knocking back the last of your drink once you've stood up, then taking the empty cup back to the food vendor. It's easy to lose track of time on board a military ship where the light is kept at a constant level, so you rely on a series of alarms you've programmed. You know that this one means your shift is due to start in a few minutes, giving you time to finish whatever you may be doing. You place the cup back into the vendor where the machine latches onto it and then retracts into a space that is quickly sealed by a sliding panel. As the sound of muffled whirring begins, you turn back to face the empty mess hall. Time to carry out the day's security checks then. Let's see. I need to stop by fire control, the hangar, and engineering to check that everything's going as it should. Same as I said before, so robotic shift, we got the generous fancy vending machine. Looks like it's got everything you could want except for hamburgers and pineapple salad. I don't know how Cosy did it, since we should have restocked when docking. Taking all the stuff already. Let's see, it might be nice to get something for later. What should I do? Buy a chocolate bar. Finally, I can buy a chocolate bar. Let's see, a silent voice bar or a Doug and Krill's. Okay, let's go with a silent voice. Very cute. There it is. A bar of chocolate. A bar of aerated milk chocolate. Very funny. Sorry? It's an arrow. Yeah, great on its own or dunked in a hot drink. It's also one of the favourites of a particular head of operations. Hey. I thought it was Miranda.
Head of operations.
Okay, you're head of operations. Head of mine. Huh. Got her. Yes.
That's so dumb. Why do you say these things?
You like it.
No.
Yep. It made you all happy inside and a little bit tingly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I'm marrying you, fool.
I know. Because I make you tingly.
We're getting married in 3 months.
Yeah, Jesus,
Holy
3 months
shit.
already.
Holy shit. Like, I didn't
March.
realize it was 3 months until my gran told me when she called me the other day. It's like, yeah, so it's 3 months till you're getting married, so like you need to start thinking about your wedding dress. I was like, wait, what? I thought it was 5 months, not that long ago.
It was 2 months ago.
Yeah, but I don't know where that has gone. Yeah.
Alright, the hangar. Let's see. Although you take the first few stairs normally, by the time you reach the hangar entrance, you're skipping almost every step. Gliding through the door into the catwalk, you grab the railing and heave yourself over it. As you continue to float lazily through the wide open space of the hangar, you start your visual checks. Walkways clear, access point marked. Munitions stowed, all the equipment and supplies seem to be where they should be. You casually shift your weight to one side of your body, causing you to begin spinning slowly. As you rotate, the glare from the hangar light reflects off an armored-framed camera lens, almost as if it's watching you. Quickly dismissing the thought, you turn your attention back to your duties. Eventually, you arrive at the other end of the hangar, where you plant your feet on the thick steel door of the main door. Thick steel on the main door. You didn't hear that. From this angle, you take in everything that you have missed, including Dalton, who you can see is amongst storage units, his attention fixed intently on a collection of parts in front of him. Cadet Dalton, attention. Hello, John. Mark II. The junior engineer suddenly snaps to attention the second he hears your call, inadvertently launching the pair of pliers he was holding into the open space of the hangar. Without gravity to stop them, they continue to sail through the air. At ease, Cadet. You time your launch from the door exactly to allow yourself to grab the flyers as you float over the startled Cadet. I believe these are yours, Cadet. Sir, thank you. I didn't realize you were... Relax, Dalton. I'm just doing my rounds. I'm not here to check up on you. Oh, okay, cool, yeah. Is there anything I can help you with? Just the usual. Everything okay in here? You haven't noticed any mechanical failures? Everything working how it should? Any suspicious activity? Nothing to report, sir. I've just been working on my project. Ever since Lieutenant Commander Quinn assigned Ensign Cruis to the filter cleaning, it's given me a bit of extra time to finish things up. Oh yeah? That's your high-density foam that sets rock hard, right? How's it going? That's right, it's good. It's good. I'm hoping to get the chance to test it soon. These containers are full of the compound. I'm just about to try transferring it into some empty training rounds, you know? The ones normally filled with paint. The ones that the armored frame pilots use in practice combat to show when they fit each other. The compound's stored under pressure where it remains in liquid. When removed from that pressure, it expands quickly, and with the rapid expansion, it sets. If I've got this right, then we can test it by firing the practice rounds at dummy targets. When the casing is destroyed, the compound should activate. Good news. Well, if there's nothing I need to know, I'll head out. Let me know if you see anything out of place. Yes, sir, I will. Although, I was wondering. What's up, Cadet? It's nothing, don't worry about it. If you're sure, Cadet. Dalton, what were... Yeah! Slow down, Cadet, it's me. Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't realize you were still there. Don't worry about it. Anyway, you've got something on your mind. What were you going to ask? Oh, it's nothing, sir. Don't worry about it. Come on, Dalton. It's not exactly like I'm rushed off my feet doing the security rounds. What's up? Well, if you're sure. The chief sent a message that she wants me to head over to engineer and carry out a job, but I'm right at a critical part of the process to decant the compound into the training rounds. If I stop now, I have to stow all my equipment, so I'll be late anyway, and then I won't have any time, and then it'll be... Okay, slow down. What do you need me to do? Oh, sorry, I just need a bit more time. Chief's got something they want me to do, but if I stop now, I don't know when I'll get another chance. Is there any way you could cover for me? I'm going to help them. Say no more, I'll take care of it. You will? I mean, are you sure, sir? Don't even worry about it. If it's something I can help with, then I'll lend a hand. If I can't, well, I'll cover for you. Don't sweat it. Thank you, sir. With the extra time, I should be able to get these rounds ready for testing before the next AF drills. Thank you. No problem. Now get back to it. If the chief thinks you've slacked off for nothing, then you'll know about it. Thank you, sir. I'll get right on it. 2 Juno model armor frames. Remarkable for being totally unremarkable. These two have some slight differences to the ones that were around during the war, but they're basically the same machine. The problem with showing diagnostics, quick video check, everything looks fine. Tools, equipment, and supplies. Chief keeps a close eye that everything's stowed properly, and Dalton works to her high standards. Can't see anything wrong with that right now. Everything looks in order. Some of these containers hold the compound that Dalton's been working on, but he keeps his work environment so tidy I wouldn't be able to tell you which. I wonder who he's talking to. Where are we off to next? Engineering and fire control. Let's go to fire control first, then, shall we? You still feel a little bit awkward checking on fire control as part of your security report. Although Dylan is always friendly enough, you can't help but feel like you're intruding on his personal sanctuary. It doesn't help that his headphones are so big that short of shaking him, it's hard to get his attention. Well, here we go. Hello, actually, John. Morning, Lieutenant. How's it going? Oh, hey, Dylan. Everything all right? I thought you'd be listening to your music. You're a pretty punctual guy, Lieutenant. So far, you've come by here at the exact same time every shift. All I had to do was find which albums would last until just before you got here, and now I don't need to be interrupted mid-jab. That's pretty impressive. Aren't you going to get bored of listening to the same albums every morning, though? Nah, don't worry about it. I figured out about 15 different album combinations, and that's not including changing the order of play, so I'm good for this mission. Speaking of the mission, you know the drill. Anything unusual? Nothing at all, Lieutenant. Not even a scrap of debris. I've been keeping an eye on the long-range targeting systems, too, and we've had a blip, but the energy readings match the O'Brien, which makes sense. Yeah, I thought so. We're so deep in Jupiter's backyard that I don't think we'll be seeing anything at all outside of the O'Brien. Pausing for a moment as you idly shift your focus from one screen to another, a flicker on one screen catches your attention. What was that? Sir? This screen here. It just flickered. What do the readings say? Oh, that's a long-range targeting system. It's fed with data from the long-range communication system, which has been on the fritz recently. Chief's been working on it, trying to figure out where all the feedback's coming from. That's the kind of thing you should be filling me in on, Gunner D's. If our targeting systems aren't operating properly, then I need to make sure the captain knows. My bad, sir. Since Chief said she was on the case, I figured it was all in hand. Well, let me know next time. That's it, though? Nothing else? Nothing at all? Alright, keep it up, Gunner D's. Yes, sir. All the other monitors look like they're working fine. I'll have to ask the Chief about the long-range communication system. Same thing again. Targeting system is guided by these rollable inputs. I didn't notice it at first time round, but it looks like someone's placed one of them with an 8-ball. Very fancy. Let's see what Dylan has to say. What's going on, Lieutenant? I listened to that Trish and the Replicants album you lent me the other day. It was pretty good. Very funny. Oh hey, nice. If you're into that, I've got a few other albums I can lend you. Ever heard of Firebombing? I was wondering if you had something a bit less rock. What were you thinking? Well, I really like the Lynn Minnie May song that they were always playing back on Europa before I left. Do you have anything like that? Lynn Minnie May? That overproduced twee stuff? Gas. Come on, sir. Next you'll be telling me you want to listen to a whole album of Princess Maria ballads or something. Silence. Silence. I mean... No way, sir. Come on. You're listening to Firebombing next and that's it. Alright. Okay. Leave the tape with me next time you pass by my quarters. Princess Maria? Who could have tasted music like that? I'm gonna guess me. Princess Maria sounds like it'd be my kind of thing. So fuck you, John. How dare you? Where else we gotta go? Big mess hall, big fire control. Check crew quarters too. See if there's anything interesting here. Vanessa's quarters. I can imagine it's immaculate in there. She doesn't seem like the kind of person who's good at relaxing. Cassie's quarters. No comment. The Chief's quarters. Pretty sure I've caught her catching a power nap when she was inspecting a maintenance crawl space. It wouldn't surprise me if she slept in an access tunnel. Dr. Rosarium's quarters. I've never seen him outside of sickbay, now that I think about it. Can I sneak into Cassandra's quarters? Let's see. She said her password was our anniversary, which is the 2nd of November. So that'll be 0211. You punch in the 4-digit passcode and the terminal flashes the text access granted, whilst the door slides open. You step into Cassie's quarters, being careful not to trip on any errant clothing. Surprise! You announce to an empty room. I didn't think Cassie was on duty right now. Cassie's bed, once again also serving as wardrobe. Putting the clothes that she throws off at night back on top in the morning is probably the closest she gets to tidying up. Staying closed against all odds. With the amount of stuff Cassie's jammed in there, it's a miracle that she got it closed at all. Considering how much stuff Cassie has balanced on this terminal, I wouldn't be surprised if she does everything that she needs to in the airlock terminal or something. Anything else? Anything of any interest? Nope. I've got duties to be getting up with. I shouldn't hang around here too much longer. Check out crew quarters again. Dalton's quarters. The chief keeps him so busy, I bet he wishes he had more time to actually spend in there. Dylan's quarters. I wonder how many cassettes he's got stashed away in there. Haru's quarters. I still can't get a proper read on them. Hanson's quarters. I've been lucky not to run into him since the other day. Good to know some people never change. My quarters. My bunk. Taken me a few nights, but I'm beginning to get used to it. My storage unit. Just clothing and uniform in there. I should probably do some laundry soon. My personal terminal, although I can access my available information from any terminal on the ship, really. There's not a lot for me to do here. I should probably get on with my duties. It's always good to check. When you have the options, you check everywhere you can before doing the main things. A central hub. Ah, Lieutenant Finch, can I help you? No thank you, Doctor. I'm just stopping by. For what purpose? If I can't help you, then I would have to assume you're here for some other alternative purpose. Did you intend to make small talk? No, I didn't really come here to pick up more nutritional shakes for Miss Quinn. No. On the captain's orders? No, look, as part of your routine checks. Yes, just doing the routine checks. Checking in on you. Everything okay here, Doctor? Yes, don't let me keep you, Lieutenant. You're clearly very busy. Great, thanks. I'll just be carrying on with my rounds then. So much silence. Sickbay beds with treating of patients. I wonder how long it's been since anyone on the ship has been treated for anything worse than a minor sprain or strain. Pretty much an onboard pharmacy. I guess the doctor's got to be prepared for a lot out here. But away from the colonies. Surgery wing of sickbay is separate from the rest of this area. It includes its own backup power systems on top of the ship's existing redundancies. Let's talk to Dr. Rosarium again. Since I don't really have anything to say to the good doctor, I think it's best that I don't try and strike up another conversation. Coward. I would totally keep talking to him until everything gets super awkward. Let's check the airlock. Emergency spacesuits in case, for some reason, a crew member hasn't been able to access the ones at their station. Reservoir air supply, I think that's what I said before. Terminals control the airlock condition to all the normal features. On top of that, it's also Cassie's favorite stargazing spot. Behind the panel in mana control, can I still use this? This is the terminal which Cassie uses to access the external camera feed and view the stars. Should I take a look? Let's view the stars. Let's see what's going on in space today. I wonder if I'm seeing the same stars every time. It's kind of hard to tell one part of space apart from the other when there's nothing out there. Well, still nice though. I'd look. And then I'd have like some sort of existential crisis. Space is scary. Rich. Still got to check out engineering. I'll go to report the captain once I've completed my duties. Okay then. Nope, that's the wrong way. Aft thoroughfare. Check the armory. Nope. Nothing of any interest going on in there. Engineering it is. Lieutenant N.J. Finch entering main engineering. You declare to the cavernous expanse of machinery and accessways that makes up the engineering section. You've been instructed to announce your arrival by the chief since the last time you didn't. She'd nearly dropped a filtration unit on you to prove a point you made sure not to forget. Accessways clear. No visible detritus. Nothing seems to be malfunctioning. You stop midway through your visual checks. And no one's throwing heavy machinery off the higher levels to teach me a lesson in proper conduct. It doesn't take long for you to finish your daily checklist. The chief runs such a tight ship that you don't really expect anything less. Now that you think about it though, she hasn't given you your daily grilling about how insulting it is that you think these daily checks are necessary in the first place. Chief, you here? Up here, Lieutenant. Chief, are you around? Damn it, Lieutenant, I'm up here. That's weird. It's not like the chief to be it's not like the chief to not be at her assigned duty station. I'll have to tell the captain. Damn it, Lieutenant, I'm up here. Look up, you idiot. Looking up, you see the chief engineer leaning dangerously across the safety rail of a walkway a few levels above you. Behind her is a massive cabling that's pouring out of an open panel above her. Oh, Chief, good morning. Good morning yourself. I've been calling back to you this whole time. You've got to clean out your ears or something. Sorry, Chief, it's pretty loud in here. Nothing in here's running above a safe decibel limit, and if you tell me otherwise, I'll come down there and recalibrate your ears. You quickly mentally calculate the time it would take for her to get down to where you are, and the time you'd need to get out of engineering. Although you fancy your chances, you wouldn't bet money or your ears on it. Must be me then. Anyway, I'm just filling out the daily report, Chief. What's going on up there? Ugh, One of those clowns at the colony dock took part in the maintenance process. One of those clowns at the colony dock who took part in the maintenance process must have done something stupid to the long-range communication system. For the past 12 hours, we've been picking up a huge amounts of feedback. They must have made a bad connection, but I can't find it in all this shoddy wiring. Huh, that must be the system that Dylan was talking about. Are you sure there's nothing out there that could be sending a signal, a broadcast from O'Brien, one of our reconnaissance satellites? No chance. This feedback is way too intense. Even a standard broadcast shouldn't produce this much noise. Unless maybe they calibrated the long-range system on the shortwave bands. In that case, the sensitivity would be off, so it would... Chief. Huh? Oh yeah, like I was saying, there's nothing around here that should be kicking out a signal with this kind of capacity. It's like it's picking up something with an amplitude and frequency 10 times higher than our standard equipment. Which could be the result of a processor loop. Maybe I should check out the initial conversion driver next. Okay, well in that case, Chief, I'm going to let the captain know, okay? Huh? I'll put that in my report for the captain, alright? Oh yeah, sure. I was just going to let him know when I'd fixed it. But those dolts have done a real number on this, so it's going to be longer than I thought. Alright, thanks for the heads up. You're right there. See you staring vaguely into space. No, yeah, from both eyes, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Good. Alright, that's the routine checks carried out. Time to report to the captain. Let's see what else she has to say. Oh, Chief, one more thing. Are the issues with the long-range communication system going to interfere with standard maintenance? Do I need to follow up with operations to get you some support? Depends how badly those idiots back at Europa have fouled things up. Normally something like this would be a quick wiring fix, but I can't trace back the fault. Ugh. Although maybe the problem isn't with the wiring around the receiver. They could have crossed wires on the broadcast hardware. Yes or no, Chief? Oh no, today's scheduled maintenance is pretty light, so Dalton should be able to take care of it. He's not scheduled to report to me until later, though. When you go to the hangar, tell him to pack up his project and get over here on the double, you hear? Actually, Chief, now that you mention it. Dalton said he's a little busy with this project at the moment, and that stopping would throw the whole thing off. So I said I'd cover for some of the maintenance tasks. Oh, he did, huh? Yes, Chief. And you said you'd cover? Yes, Chief. That's right. As the silence between you and the Chief drags on, you begin to regret offering to do Dalton a favor. Now that you think about it, what exactly do you know about maintenance? Not only is the Chief going to give Dalton grief for passing off his workload, you're going to get it in the neck for... Well, if he says he's at an important stage of his work, I'm not going to drag him away. Kid's been slaving over that project night and day. Got to admire his love for the craft. You let yourself relax. Thankfully, it looks like the Chief's got something of a soft side after all. I'll be able to pick things up here, but I've got one of his jobs that you can do for me. What do you need? The Chief turns away from you and squats down, rummaging among an inner tool pack for something. The batteries in the emergency spacesuit radio packs in the airlock are due for replacement. Take these and switch them out for the old ones, okay? She casually tosses 2 battery packs towards you, which you just about catch, surprised by their heft. You got the charged batteries. Roger that, Chief. Once you've got the old ones, bring them back here and plug them into the power distribution module. After that, you're free to go. Swap out the batteries in the emergency spacesuits in the airlock, and then bring the old ones back here to recharge. Simple. It is. It's very simple. Let's do that. I'd never noticed that before. Oh, that's the central computer door. The central computer room. The mainframe where all the ship's terminals is in there, but it can only be accessed with authority from the captain. How did I not notice that entire section before? Weird. There's another one over there. That's the engine. Interesting. Through that door is the ship's engine and lots of headache, inducing explanations about distortion drives and fields and... Now we're gonna go further. Central. And then... Airlock. These are the spacesuits the Chief was talking about. They're here in case the crew members never try to... supposed to swap out the batteries with the radio packs. Alright, let's see. Chief said it was the batteries in the suit radios that needed changing. Firmly grabbing the locking mechanism's handle on the suit's container, You twist it 90 degrees clockwise and then pull. The door offers more resistance than you'd expect, but once fully opened, it remains in place. Reaching inside the container, you hold your left hand against the suit's rigid breast panel and grab the large black block of plastic that protrudes from the panel's left side. With a tug, the block pulls away, trailing a curling cable that keeps it connected to the suit. As you pull it away from the suit, you flip the radio over to examine it. The bottom half of the device consists of a pistol grip with a secondary microphone and speaker, which allow it to be used separately from the suit, and your thumb rests comfortably on the push-to-talk button. The top half of the unit's underside has a backlit LCD screen, showing the current frequency it's tuned to and battery level. Below the screen sit a few ambiguous buttons. To its side is a dial for tuning and a power switch. Whilst this unit holds the main workings of the radio's receiver and transceiver, the wire that still anchors it to the suit connects it to the small microphone and speaker inside the helmet. Flipping the whole unit around to look at its underside, you see a small latch set into the recess, which you pull down with your thumb, releasing the cover and letting the old battery slide into your palm. Old battery out. You murmur to yourself as you take it into your spare hand before sliding it into the opposite pocket for the fresh backup batteries. Got the depleted batteries. And now it's time for the new batteries. Charge batteries. New battery in. With the battery replaced, you attach the compartment cover, which snaps back into place. Once you set the radio into its mount on the suit's breast panel, you step back, close the suit container door, and twist the lock mechanism 90 degrees counterclockwise. With one down, you move over to the other storage unit and repeat the process of unlocking the container, taking the suit's radio, swapping out the batteries, and then replacing everything as you found it. Great, all done. Let's go get these back in charging and engineering. Back to engineering. Hey, look at that. I'm already beginning to figure shit out. It's part of the life support system that analyzes conditions where the ship adjusted to output support. Chief gave me a whole lecture about it yesterday. Power distribution model. This device sends energy from the engines out to the rest of the ship. It's also got parts for charging battery packs. I should probably finish the job. Alright, here we go. You take each battery that you've removed from the suit's radio and place them in the charging ports on the side of the power distribution module. It's called a charger. They slide in and lock it in place with a satisfying clunk, and a red light above the port lights up with an amber glow. A red light with an amber glow. Interesting. Great, a job well done. I got a trophy for that. I feel special. Talk to Dalton. Oh, how do I leave? There we go. Aft thoroughfare. Central hub. Foresight thoroughfare. Hangar. Talk Dalton. As you re-enter the hangar and pause for a moment by the railings, you can see Dalton in the center of the area next to a wide-open container. The container itself is crammed full of interconnecting pipes, tanks, and various other bits and pieces of inscrutable technology. You watch as he adjusts some valves and then takes a cylindrical object the size of a thermos from a recess in the device. As he holds it up to the light, you catch his eye and he excitedly turns to face you, immediately launching himself at you. Lieutenant, great timing, look at this! Whoa, slow down there, cadet. You grab a hold of him by his sleeve to stop him from sailing past you and into the wall by the entrance. Bracing yourself on the railing, you counteract his momentum and bring him back down onto the catwalk. Good news? Great news, check this out! Dalton proudly presents the object you've been inspecting earlier. Although at first glance it looks like a standard 40mm round from one of the Juno's machine guns, the plastic casing gives it away as a training round that would typically be filled with paint. This feels a lot heavier than normal though, suggesting different contents. Oh hey, good job, you did it, huh? That's right, I've got the pressure right and figured out the volume of the sealing for each round. I even managed to get the training rounds to seal properly afterwards, so there's no risk of spillage. A round like this should be able to immobilize any joint on an armored frame with ease. That's great to hear, Cadet. Well done. Thank you, sir. I couldn't have got it done so quickly without your help. Oh, was everything okay with the chief? Did she mind? What did she ask you to do? Nothing major. Just had to swap some batteries out on the emergency spacesuits. Even a security officer like me can handle that. That's all? Yeah, that's all. She genuinely seemed like she thought it'd be best to carry on with your project. That doesn't sound like the chief. Hey, come on. I'm sure she can be alright, sometimes. I'm sure she was going light on us because she knew what you were doing was important. Or maybe she's just saving all my jobs from today for tomorrow's shift and will want me to work double time. Easy there, Cadet. I don't think she's that bad. Maybe. Don't sweat it, Dalton. I'm sure you'll be fine. You did well today, anyway. Now finish up producing all the rounds you'll need for testing, and then get this hangar shipshape. You know the chief likes it clear. Yes, sir. Alright, well I should go and give my report. Take it easy, Cadet. Yes, sir. Oh, Lieutenant. Cadet. Thanks again. I don't know when I'd have gotten the proper chance to do this without your help. Anytime, Cadet. How cute. As you re-enter the hangar and pause for a moment by the railings, you can see Dalton in the center area next to it's just going to repeat all that. Really? Oh, we just... Wow, we've replaced that whole thing, huh? Okay. Interesting. Let's do a quick save, shall we? So that means we're done here. It's time to go and report. Central Hub. Ridge. I've completed the security report for today. Should I go up and give it to the captain, or should I take another look around in case I've missed anything? Time to report to the captain. Alright then, no sense in delaying seeing Captain Bartlemews. Lieutenant N.J. Fintram entering the bridge. You declare, stepping from the elevator and throwing a salute. Looking around the room, you see Vanessa, who remains focused at her station, not paying you the slightest bit of attention, and Cassie, who stands from her station and comes over to you, a wide smile on her face. As you remain at attention, you notice that the captain's chair is empty. At ease, Lieutenant. Captain Marchmuse isn't with us, so I'm in charge of you today. A small tut comes from Vanessa. If Cassie heard it, she doesn't show it. Oh, is that right? I've come to make my report. That's right. Dr. Rosario advised me that she's suddenly taken ill. Vanessa makes another, louder tutting noise. Cassie pauses for a split second, but quickly carries on. So he's ordered her to quarters for some bed rest. We're due to enter a communications range with the O'Brien any moment now, and from there it's just a matter of coordinating our patrol paths. Nothing I can't handle. Ahem. Yes. Right. The security report, Lieutenant. Oh yeah, of course. You clear your throat, feeling a bit awkward. Although you've been on the ship together for the past few days, you've mainly seen each other between shifts where rank didn't really matter much. Cassie acting seriously didn't really seem like Cassie at all. Security report for April 22nd, PC-214. No breaches or hazards to report now. No sign of immediate threats or security risks to the ship herself, and all shipboard operations proceeding as expected with little likelihood of disruption. Nothing? Well, the Chief has run into some feedback issues on the long-range communication system, which is impacting the visuals on the long-range targeting system. It doesn't seem to be enough to stop normal operations, though, and they're in the process of isolating the problem area to start repairs. Cadet Grange has also completed the system to load the high-density foam he's developed into training hands. Are you okay? Was it? Oh, sorry. You had the thing earlier. That's not key. The hot water. That's fine, that's hot water. Get the monkey. Wrapping around. From this angle, that looks very weird.
It always sounds gross because it's like a flapping sound because of her mouth is like a gel, so it just sounds worse.
That's what Bina was just doing, but her face was obscured by a blanket, so it kind of looked a bit questionable.
That's with W and Z.
Wait. Waiting. You mean wank? That ends in a K.
When you screamed me, I didn't know what was appropriate.
I'm sure the word wank is fine. And we were implying that it looked like the dog was wanking under a blanket, so... Big yawn. That's a medium-sized yawn. Now she's licking you with her wank tongue.
Stop. She baby.
Yes, she is.
She doesn't know anything about it.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't.
She spends most evenings humping that toy.
That's not true. She doesn't
Really?
hump it as much as she used to.
You're honestly going to tell me that's not true?
She
You're
has
the one who
never-
points it out more than I do.
She has never even mated.
Yeah, and that's why she keeps fucking a door draft excluder. That is in the shape of a dachshund, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Honestly, it's funny because we saw that in the Memphis subreddit where someone else had one.
Yeah,
That was also involved.
it's one of those dog-shaped draft excluders.
Yeah, it's very long.
But if she starts looking at dachshunds and thinks that's a humping toy, we're gonna want to keep an eye on it.
Originally, I convinced Nathan to get it because I wanted Blue to play with it. That was back when I lived with him and his mum.
That was before then.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we went shopping in Tesco or something. I was like, yeah, get it for Blue, he'll love it. And then we brought it home for him. He sniffed at it and then just walked away and ignored it the whole time.
He doesn't really care too much about toys most of the time.
So then when we
Especially
moved
when
in
they're
here-
like 3 times bigger than he is.
So we took it with us when we moved in here, and then Peanut and Blue would come over for visits, and she would be interested, but she was just a baby then, so she didn't hump it. But then when she became our dog, like I gave it to her, expecting her to just rag it and stuff, and then she starts fucking it. And it's like, it's not what I intended for it, Peanut.
It's a very bizarre thing to see,
Yeah.
especially with the ferocity with which she does it.
And she also like flops out her tongue while she also does it, which is creepy.
That, or she bites the back of its neck.
Yeah, usually she'll just like pin it and then bite the back of its head or its neck and then just like shove it to the ground. As
See?
if she absolutely knows.
Anyone who wants to argue that sex is not instinctual just needs to look at our dog for you.
Yeah.
This is a beast that has never had sex, does not have reproductive organs, and will never have sex.
Yeah. Like she got like
And is female, obviously.
yeah, she got her like bits taken out like what was it, like 6 months or something?
I don't remember.
She was a few months old obviously and she didn't even have her first like cycle or anything, so it's not as if she knows what it's even like. But somehow she's like picked it up and like we just don't understand what she would even get out of humping it.
It's just an instinct for her. She just does it because she thinks she should. It's weird. Anyone who happens to know more about dogs, maybe they might be able to explain it to us. Because again, it's not even like she's been around other dogs that have been like sexual around her.
I mean, apparently, I googled it, apparently it's just like a boredom thing, or sometimes just like a stress reliever. But, so I guess, but she doesn't seem like, we play with her every evening, so I just like, what? How is she bored when
I was gonna
she's,
say, boredom with this many toys around the flat.
like, she sleeps, and when she's not sleeping, she just attacks us for playing and stuff, and she just like, runs around the whole flat and just has her enjoyment with like so many toys. I'm just like, she can't be bored. It's like, I don't understand how.
She's a weird beast, is what it is.
Yeah.
Back to space adventures. Away from dog sex and more adventures. Cadet Grange has also completed the system to load the high-density foam he's developing into training rounds for the Juno's weapons. He's scheduled to have produced enough round for tests in time for the next training exercises. Oh, that's great. Good for him. But that's about it. Business as usual. Here's my written report. You reach into your jacket pocket and take hold of the written copy of your morning report, as well as the completed checklist. At the same time, you subtly shift the chocolate bar underneath the pad of paper and, holding onto both, pull them out to present them to Cassie, the silent voice obscured by the documents. Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll... Taking both off you, Cassie quickly realizes there's something in addition to the report and spots the chocolate bar underneath. Cass! Well, Lieutenant Finch, it looks like you're continuing to perform above and beyond. Tell me though, do you have any experience with the standard communications array? You pause for a moment, unsure at what Cassie is getting at. Everyone in the JCF has at least rudimentary knowledge of how to work the ship's communications array. Yes, ma'am. I've had the necessary training to operate the comm system aboard any JCF vessel. Great. Since Captain Bartlemews is ill, Vanessa and I are both pulling double shifts to make sure there's cover on the bridge. It'll just be me on the night shift tonight. You won't mind helping me out by manning some positions? Suspicious. Ahem. As Cassie turns away with a document in hand, she glances across to a display screen showing the time. Vanessa, have we heard anything from the O'Brien? We're beyond the scheduled meetup window. Are we picking them up on the sensors? There's nothing on sensors, Lieutenant Commander. Not that this interference is making things easy. I'll try scanning on different frequency bands in case the O'Brien is having the same issue. Vanessa begins to flip switches and twist dials, filling the quietness of the bridge with a series of noises that range from annoying buzzes to painfully shrill screeches. After a few moments, the communication window on the main screen illuminates, and a slightly distorted voice speaks. Do you read? We are at the rendezvous area and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Bashir of the JFS O'Brien. JFS Gundog, do you read? We are at the rendezvous area and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. With Lieutenant Bashir from the O'Brien relatively clear on the communication window, Cassandra hastily grabs a microphone. Roger that, JFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... Lieutenant Bashir, do you read? Vanessa, are you still getting signal from the... The comms are being overloaded. There's a powerful signal coming in on all bands and it's... Yak! What the hell just happened? Is everyone okay, Commander Quinn? Commander Quinn. Cassie. Ooh. Did not expect to see her legs. Even before your eyes adjust to the minimal lighting of the bridge, you kneel down and reach out into the darkness, trying to find where Cassie has collapsed on the deck. You search blindly for a few seconds until your hand meets her shoulder, and you move towards her. Cassie. Hey, Cassie. Say something. Cassie. Hang in there, Cassie. Lieutenant Lord, call sickbay and get the doctor up here right now. I can't. Why not? The ship's entire system has been knocked offline, even the emergency backup systems. It's all offline. We don't have time for this. Get it back online. You rise quickly and dash over to the elevator, slamming your hand into the call button. I'm going to take Cassie down to the sickbay. You can... Aside from your voice, the whole room remains totally silent. Most conspicuously absent, though, is the whirring of the elevator that would take you directly to sickbay. You rapidly press the call button in frustration. Idiot! What part of offline do you not understand? Quinn's not going anywhere until at least the backup systems are online. But that can't be done from the bridge. What do you mean? How do we get them back online? It's an emergency failsafe. If there's a critical failure with the central computer and it can't function properly, then the entire ship will be shut down. Then it enters a lockdown mode until it can be rebooted. All areas are sealed in case the shutdown is a result of enemy action. The main computer in engineering needs to be physically rebooted to restore any sort of access. Of course, since this is a security system, you should know all this. You grit your teeth to stop yourself snapping back at Vanessa. In the heat of the moment, all thought of process and procedure had left you completely. All you've been thinking about was getting Cassie to sickbay, placing your head in your hand with you pinch the bridge of your nose and try to focus. That's right, but isn't the order to reboot the central computer given from the bridge in that situation? Why did you say we can't? 2 reasons. First of all, this lockdown shouldn't affect backup systems. But for some reason, everything seems like it's offline, which means there is no internal communication system right now. Secondly, even if we have the internal communication system, access to the central computer requires input codes which are known only by the captain. Or, in the event the captain is incapacitated, the second in command. Vanessa turns to look at Cassandra, who shifts slightly. As she continues to talk, you head back to Cassie, kneeling beside her and placing her in the recovery position. Feeling the cold steel of the floor as you turn Cassie over, you take off your uniform jacket and lay it over her. Which currently would be Lieutenant Commander Quinn. Meaning that right now, both the people who know the necessary information to get the ship back up and running are out of action. There's got to be some way around all this. Weren't you listening? This isn't supposed to happen. We should at least have the backup systems in place. Without them, there's nothing we can do except sit around and wait for the air to run out. What about the O'Brien? Can you contact them for support? Everything is offline. What part of this are you not getting? As you kneel over Cassie, your mind races through what Vanessa has just told you. You know that she's right, and that all the ship's emergency action plans revolve around the backup systems being operational, and without them online, there's next to nothing that can be done within the ship. Your mind catches on that point for a moment, and you can't help but wonder whether whoever wrote that plan was optimistic enough that they couldn't see a situation where the backups failed. Or whether they were so pessimistic they felt if those systems were out of commission, there was no real hope for the crew either. Pushing that thought out of your head, you desperately try to figure out a way to get Cassie to sickbay. There's got to be something you know about the ship that would help. In all your time you spent working as a security officer, there's got to be something that you picked up that would... That's it. In the crew quarters, the panels by the bunks can be removed and replaced. People use the space in the structure to hide contraband. What are you talking about? The ship's maintenance crawlways can accessed in the same way, if I'm right. You head back to the elevators, but this time, instead of trying to call them, you begin to run your hands over the seams in the wall panels on either side. Eventually, you notice a gap a few inches in length. Normally, maintenance would have a special tool to access this, but you can do the same thing with... I know I've got it on me somewhere. Where is it? Taking your ID card out of your pocket, you slide it into the gap in the seam until it meets some resistance when it's about halfway in. You slide it up and down a few times until you feel it stick on something, at which point you push harder. Suddenly you hear the sound of multiple catches disengaging, and the panel falls towards you. Taking the wall panel in both hands, you place it to the side where it used to be attached. Now, instead of a solid wall, you can just about make out an absence large enough for someone to fit inside, with a series of rungs heading downwards into a darkness, which opens up once they pass by where the elevator currently sits. How did you know how to do this? This is one of the first tricks you learn as a security officer. Ship crews get very creative with where they stash things. With these panels, it makes sense that the maintenance crawlways are accessed in a similar way. Well, great. Now you can crawl around the walls in the dark. Very helpful. You grit your teeth and breathe. You hadn't talked to Vanessa much since you first met, but you were now beginning to understand why she always ate alone in the mess hall. If I can get in up here, it means that I can get out down there in the central hub. From there, I can see if I can get the emergency input codes from the captain and make contact with the chief in engineering. Do you really think you can solve this by clambering around inside the walls? Even if you can make it to the central hub, the rest of the ship will... Lieutenant Lord, would you... Please keep your opinion to yourself. Thank you, Lieutenant Lord. You snap back, barely suppressing your anger at her constant pessimism. But right now I don't see any other options except for this one, and for all we know, we're the only people in the entire ship who might be able to do something. I'm not about to sit around and let everyone down. Not this time. So I'm going to leave you here to look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn, unless you have anything you want to try that you think might help. Vanessa stares at you for a moment, as if weighing up what the best put-down for the current situation is. Instead, she heads back to her station and starts flicking switches and pressing buttons on her control panel. All right, you do that. I'll try to get the internal communications system working. Since the backups should work in a situation like this, maybe there's a way to get them back online. Get moving, or are you going to stand around and gawk whilst I get everything done myself? You inadvertently sigh loudly as you turn around and reach out into the crawl space, grabbing a rung and then placing your foot on one lower down. Hopefully I can get things back online with the chief and the captain's help. Just look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn until then, alright? Vanessa turns away from you, continue to adjust the inputs on the communication system. It's very weird doing all this without the music going. It actually seems to be effective in like a weirdly spooky way. Yeah, sure. With that, oh, there we go. And now the music's back. With that, you lower yourself into the darkness, taking it one rung at a time. Once you pass the stationary elevator, you can feel the space you're in open up around you. Carrying on downwards, you reach behind you every so often to see if you can feel the catch system. Oh my god. She's sleeping on a pillow. If you can feel the catch system that would keep an access panel attached. After a few attempts to find it, your fingers eventually brush over a catch, and with some coercion, you manage to get it to release, causing the whole panel to fall off the wall behind you and clatter onto the floor of the central hub. Hell yeah.
So cute.
She's adorable. As you step out of the cruel way, a loud banging starts from nearby. You immediately reorient yourself to face the room, placing your hand on the electroshock weapon just in case. As you scan the room in the dim lighting, the banging continues, and you realize it's not coming from anywhere in the central hub, but one of the elevators. With your hand still hovering over your weapon, you slowly move towards the noise, trying to make as little sound as possible, hoping that whoever or whatever is making it doesn't know you're there. Despite the darkness, you can see that the elevator doors are open slightly, with an inch or so gap between the two doors. As you angle yourself to try and see what's inside, your question is answered. Hey, who's out there? Whoever you are, help me get these stupid doors open. Whole thing's jammed. You pause for a moment. You haven't seen Hansen since the other day outside your quarters. I know you're out there. I heard you. Get over here and help me get these doors open. Hey, what are you waiting around for? As Hansen continues to call out, you size up the situation. With the darkness of the room, you could easily come and go without him being able to tell that it's you. On top of that, it's unlikely that he'd be able to force the doors open on his own. Hey, come on, this isn't funny. Who's out there? Stop jerking me around. It's petty, but part of you almost relishes the idea of Hansen seeing how it feels to be trapped and unable to do anything. Haru, if you're messing with me, I'll kick your ass. Still, he's a member of the crew, and as a security officer, it's your role to keep them all safe, regardless of how much of a dick they might be. You take a breath and help him open the doors. Hold it for a second before releasing one long, constant sigh. Hey, I heard you. I know you're there. Get me out. All right, Ensign. I'll take the door on the right, you take the door on the left. On the count of 3, we pull. Great. Everyone on board, it's the Kalaiki coward. Figured you'd stop by here, find a nice little space to crawl up and hide in. Helping me out so we can trade places and you can ride it out until the action's over. You immediately begin to regret your decision. Cruis, do you want to get out of there or not? Whatever. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. The two of you both heave against the elevator's doors, which shift slightly, but not enough for Hansen to get out. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. This time the doors yield a little more to your efforts. After they open a few more inches, you step back to catch your breath, and watch as Hansen sticks his arm through the gap, but struggles to get any further than that. Once more, and we should have you out of there. Shame your girlfriend isn't here. At least she's got a backbone she could be putting into this. You freeze for a moment as all your muscles stiffen reflexively, and a wave of anger flows through you. Excuse me, Ensign. You heard me. She's the one of you two with any stones. If she hadn't been here to save you the other day, You'd have what? I'd have... Think hard about your answer, Ensign. Give me the wrong answer, and you can try and squeeze that thick skull of yours through that gap without any more of my help. Forget it. That's what I thought. Now get ready. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. It takes the two of you a few attempts, but finally you manage to push the doors open to the point where Hansen can make his way through the gap between the two of them. Free of the elevator, Hansen dusts himself down and looks around whilst adjusting his jacket. So what the hell's going on? What's happening to the ship? Why has everything stopped working? There should be backups or something, right? You pause for a moment. Despite having been on the bridge when everything went wrong, you probably have as much of an idea as Hansen would. Honestly, we've got no idea. I was on the bridge when it all happened. We made contact with the O'Brien. There was this flash. Then Commander Quinn had been knocked out. All the systems were offline, even the backups. I managed to get off the bridge using the maintenance crawl way. Now we're trying to figure out a way to reboot the computer to get everything back online. Just great. I knew this ship was a piece of junk the moment I stepped on board. You said you guys had a plan to get things up and running, yeah? Yeah, kinda. Great. You can handle that. I'm gonna go check on the crew. Have you seen Haru? No, I haven't run into them. Okay then. I'll try their quarters. With that, Hansen heads into the darkness towards the Foresight thoroughfare. He stops briefly, turning to face you. Lieutenant. Thanks, or whatever. The pilot quickly turns on his heels and disappears into the darkness. Don't mention it. The elevators are out of action right now. Hansen and I managed to force the doors open, but I shouldn't go inside. Knowing how these things work, the doors would shut on me once I got inside or something. So now we need to go to Foresight thoroughfare. Crew quarters 2. Actually, no, I'm intrigued. Can I go into the hangar? The double-sized doors that make up the entrance to the hangar remain steadfastly closed, despite your best efforts. Although the terminal to their side is dead, just like the others, you'd attempted to open the double doors through brute force. Since the hangar seemed like your best bet to access some helpful equipment. They had, however, remained inert against your efforts to pry them open using your own strength. Unsurprising, but frustrating. Even if I managed to get these doors open, there'd be another set waiting for me at the bottom of the staircase. And this would be way harder in low gravity. You pause for a moment, thinking, but can't think of a way around it. Let's try somewhere else. Even if I did get in there, it's all mechanically vended anyway. A bad place to be without power. These doors are probably just as hard to move as all the others. I don't know what I'd do if I got in there. Chief's quarters, no way she's in there right now. She's probably in engineering trying to figure out 20 different ways to get the ship back online. Dr. Zaren's car. Captain's quarters. Standing in front of the door to Captain Bartomew's quarters, you instinctively straighten up, sticking your chest out and your shoulders back. You know that your access card doesn't have the encoded permission to allow you to access the captain's quarters, and even if it did, the terminal to the side of the door is as lifeless as the rest of the ship. Instead, you bang forcefully on the captain's door and shout, "Captain Bartomew, it's Lieutenant Finch. There's been a system failure and Commander Quinn is incapacitated. We need you to give the emergency input codes to restart the ship's central computer." After waiting for a few moments, you press your ear up against the door, seeing if you can hear any signs of life. From experience, you know that the crew quarters doors aren't as substantial as some of the other doors in the ship. It's not uncommon to know that the exact schedule of other crew members based on the sound alone. "Captain, it's an emergency." You wait a little longer, but still don't hear anything. Ugh, damn it. Slamming your fist on the captain's door in frustration, you turn back. You'll have to figure something else out. I'm gonna guess I need to go... Can I get to engineering? Central hub. Actually, no. Bartender? Like everywhere else in the ship so far, you're met with an unresponsive terminal and a shut door. You know not to expect much, but you try anyway, knocking on the door and calling out, "Hey, Gunner D's, can you hear me?" You wait for a response, but don't feel particularly worried when one doesn't come. Knowing Dylan, he's probably not realized anything has happened. I don't think he'd be much help even if he could hear me. At least someone's probably having a good time during all this. I'm sure you'd be at least vaguely aware, with all the screens going down and everything. Central hub. Gotta get to sickbay. The elevators are clearly out of action. I'll have to go get things back up and running before I can get Cassie to sickbay. So there's no way of crawling down there then. As you leave the central hub and enter the long corridor that comprises the aft thoroughfare, the first thing you notice is the sound of your steps on the metal flooring ringing out and echoing down the corridor. Normally the vibrations from the engines would dull the noise, and it would be barely perceptible over their low and steady rumble. You'd got to the point where you didn't even notice the constant noise down this end of the ship, But now that the corridor is silent, its absence hits you. The armory. I don't think there's going to be anything in there that will help me out. Even though the ship is locked down, I'm not sure trying to blow them open would be a good idea. I should be able to find the chief in engineering. If anyone can figure this out, it'll be her. So what? Is that not a giant door that's saying I can't get down there? At the end of the aft thoroughfare, where the corridor would normally transition from corridor into the engineering department, instead you're met with a substantial blast door with the word engineering stenciled on it. You run your hand over the surface before rapping on it with your knuckles. Rather than the low ring which would indicate it being relatively thin, this door returns a higher pitch noise, indicating that it's significantly thicker than normal. Unlike the rest of the doors on this ship, which are designed as entrances and exits, you can tell that this one exists more to block off one section than from the other. You instantly dismiss any thoughts of forcing it open. It's likely that even the contents of the armory couldn't shift it. After a minute or two of fruitlessly inspecting it, you shrug to yourself. The only thing you can do right now is hope that the chief is nearby. Hey, chief! You pound on the door with your fist, hoping that the sound makes its way through. Chief, can you hear me? You continue to pound on the door and yell, stopping every so often to hear if there's any kind of response. Chief, I'm out here! Chief! Hey! After a few minutes worth of attempting to make contact, you stop and flex the fingers on your right hand, cracking your knuckles to try and dismiss the comfort. Given the size of the engineering department, you begin to think about how close the chief would need to be to even hear you and the odds of that happening. Before you can resume your attempts through this, though, you hear a dull, repetitive thudding coming from the other side. Sounds like Morse code to me. Chief, can you hear me? I'm out here. You call, pressing your ear to the blast door to see if you can hear an answer. Instead, you just hear the same dull, repetitive thudding. At first, it seems random and erratic, but the longer you listen, you begin to realize there's a pattern. Unfortunately, I've forgotten my Morse code. Ah, that's great, but what does it mean? In defeat, you slam your fist against the door one more time. Chief, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll try and find a way to get in there with you. At least I know someone's in there. There's got to be some way I can get in touch with them. Send them a signal. Maybe there's something I haven't thought of yet. An emergency communication system? Something that's not tied to the ship? Think. What do I have? A gun and a card. What was that banging? I feel like it was trying to say something. Don't think we're getting the armory. The ship's locked down. Nope, I was going to go back. No. I know the chief's in there at least. I've got to get some way to get in touch with her. Central hub. I was going to go Foresight thoroughfare. Poor kid, knowing Dolphin, he's probably freaking out in the hangar right now. I wonder if the chief's taught him anything useful about situations like this. Even if Dylan's shift finished between when I last saw him and when the power went out, he probably would have been stuck there around in fire control. I don't know what Haru's duties were today, or where they'd be. Hopefully they went to the hangar early to get ready for their training exercises. That'd give Dalton some company at least. Where is Hansen anyway? I guess my quarters are the one place on this entire ship I can guarantee there's nothing helpful for this situation. I can enjoy a well-earned rest later. Interesting. You pause outside Cassie's room, wondering if there's any chance that she may have left a copy of the input codes in there. You don't dwell on this thought long, as a quick inspection of the terminal next to the door shows it's out of action, just like all the others. You're not expecting much, but it's always worth giving something a try, especially in situations like this. Captain. You bang loudly on the door a few more times. Captain? You wait a little while longer, but still don't hear any signs of life from the captain's quarters. What can she even be doing in there? I know the doctor's assigned her to bed rest, but how ill is she? go for a coffee right about now, but I don't think there's anything in there that will be helpful.
Nathan's being very nice and getting me McDonald's stuff.
Well, it is payday.
Time to go.
It's up to you. I can pick it up from on the way home from work if you want.
But check the bag.
Yes, I will definitely be checking the bag, don't worry.
Yeah, last time we got McDonald's, it was a whole shit show.
It was quite upsetting.
Like, there was, like, Nathan threw a proper hissy fit, and I just stood there awkwardly.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. Like, nothing in it was right except for the drinks, I think.
Yeah, like every single bag that had clearly written on every single one exactly what we'd ordered had nothing that matched.
Yeah, there was a regular cheeseburger, there was some nuggets, and I think...
The chicken tenders.
Yeah, some chicken tenders and 2 fries. 2 boxes of fries. So even that wasn't great because we got 3 boxes. Because I like extra fries sometimes.
There wasn't a single thing that we ordered in that entire thing.
Yeah. Like, it was kind of shocking. Like, if anything, I would have figured they got the fries correct because usually that's the first thing to put in the bag.
They could have at least gotten, like, the bags the right way around.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they should have gotten them all the right way around. Someone else basically got away with all our burgers.
Yeah, essentially.
As you enter the airlock hatch door, looms large in the darkness. A shiver runs through you and you rub your forearms. It wasn't something you noticed until now, but as you feel the goosebumps that cover your skin, you realize that the ship's temperature is now dropping noticeably. You've got to find a way to get things up and running again. Emergency spacesuits for the event of ship depressurization. Failure with the life support system, or if the crew have to abandon ship. Hopefully I can get this solved without needing the extra air supply. Wait, I've just changed the batteries on these to make sure the radios work in emergency. I wonder if any of the other radios on board will pick up the signal. Aha! What do you know? Ha! I bet that's what the chief was trying to tell me. Of course she'd come up with a plan like this before anyone else. And let's see if I can reach her. You grab the handle on the suit's container and twist. The metal in your hand is noticeably colder to the touch than it was last time you were here. Once the lock is undone, you open the door and, bracing the suit with your left hand, grab the radio with your right. As you disconnect the radio unit from the breast panel, the spiraling plastic cord that connects to the suit comes with it. Turning the radio in your hand, you find where the cord connects and unscrew the attachment point, allowing the cable to spring back towards the suit. Excuse me. You quickly extend the telescopic antenna and flick the power switch, which causes the sound of whining static to fill the previously silent room. You slowly rotate the tuning dial, working your way through the frequencies until a familiar voice comes on the tiny speaker. An emergency broadcast from Chief Engineer Mackenzie Cathays on the JFS Gundog to any JFS Gundog crew members or any JCF ships nearby. The Gundog has suffered a complete systems failure, and assistance is needed to get them back online. I repeat, this is an emergency broadcast from Chief Engineer Mackenzie Cathays on the JFS Gundog to any JFS Gundog crew members or any JCF ships nearby. Yeah. Chief, this is Lieutenant Finch reading you loud and clear. I've managed to get an emergency radio from one of the suits in the airlock. I'm able to get around the thoroughfares into the bridge, but I can't get anywhere else. It took you long enough. What the hell has anyone been doing this whole time? You're just about to push the button to send your response, but the chief cuts in. Anyway, you're in touch now. That's what counts. You said you can get to the bridge, is that right? That's right. Then get back up there and get the captain to give me the input codes to access the main computer, so that I can get the ship running again. Slight complication, Chief. The captain's taken sick. She's not on the bridge. A classic Barton use. Then get back up there and get Lieutenant Commander Quinn to give me the input codes. She's out of commission too. She collapsed at the same time the ship's power went out. You release your thumb, allowing the chief to broadcast, but where you expected a swiftly delivered alternative, instead all you get is radio static. Chief? Nothing's ever easy, huh, Lieutenant? Who's currently on the bridge, then? That'll be Lieutenant Lord. Well, she's the commanding officer on board right now, I guess. You're going to want to get up there. I've got an idea, but it's not something I can authorize. You grip the radio tight. Your grip on the radio tightens as a sense of apprehension grows within you. You don't know what the chief has in mind, but if it requires authority of the ship's senior officer, you know that it's going to be something dangerous. Realizing you've been holding your breath since the chief's last message, you breathe out and push the button on the radio side to send your message. Copy that, Chief. Heading up there now. Radio in hand, you quickly make your way back to the airlock into the central hub, and then head straight for the maintenance spillway. It only takes you a moment of groping around in the darkness to find a ladder rung before you're on your way back up to the bridge. As you climb, each rung that you grip is cold to the touch, and the air that you breathe has a brisk chill to it. You know what this means, but for the time being, decide to push that thought out of your head. You've got other things to focus on. The climb up seems a lot shorter than your original climb down, and you soon emerge back on the bridge. Vanessa swivels in her chair and paces over to you. So, did you get in touch with anyone? Kind of. You bring the radio up to your face so that the microphone is level with your mouth, and press the push to talk button with your thumb. Chief, I'm back on the bridge with Lieutenant Lord. Releasing the button, you walk past Vanessa, handing the radio over to her before heading towards Cassie. Vanessa looks from you to the radio with mild bewilderment before the chief's voice sounds out from the speaker. Lieutenant Lord, this is Chief Engineer Cathays. Can you hear? Do you read? As you kneel down by Cassie to check her pulse and temperature, as well as doing your best to tuck your jacket around her, the way the chief addresses Vanessa catches your attention. You hadn't heard the chief being that deferential towards anyone, even the captain. I hear you, Chief Cathays. Captain Bartomeu and Commander Quinn are both incapacitated, so I'm in command of the gun dog until such a time as they can return to duty, understood? You frown slightly, hearing Vanessa assert her position over the chief like that. Although she is the ranking officer in the situation, you've not heard anyone on board pull rank in that way, especially on the chief, who you were under the impression enjoyed the respect of everyone on board, including Hansen and Haru. Yes, ma'am. Good. Now, have you got a plan, Chief Cathays? Or has Lieutenant Finch brought me this radio so we can have a chat about how nothing's working on your end either? As you stand and turn to face Vanessa, you catch the last few moments of a distasteful look she's been making at you whilst your back was turned, and do your best to bite your tongue. Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Finch has explained to me that both the Captain and Commander Quinn are out of action, so I'm aware neither of them will be able to give me the input codes required to reactivate the central computer. We know that, Cathays. What's the solution? The only hope we've got right now is that the Captain has copies of the documents that contain the access codes in her quarters. If someone can get in there, then they can get the codes and tell them to me, letting me reactivate the ship's systems. If we'd been able to get the Captain's quarters, we'd have done that already. The whole ship's in lockdown, there's no way to get in there. You notice the slightest pause before the Chief responds. You could be projecting, but you get the impression that she's just as fed up as you are. Not quite, ma'am. Although all the terminals and most of the hardware on the ship is dependent on the central computer, we've got a tool that we use when something needs to be disconnected from the system. We use it for maintenance or debugging, the PST or Portable Sub-Terminal. It's effectively a standalone power pack with a microcomputer built in that provides enough power to activate the hardware attached to a terminal. It'll let us get into the captain's quarters, and then from there we can get the codes to start the computer back up. So where is this PST? Oh, he's cuddled aside. She looks so comfy. And smelly yawns. We're just lying down cuddling together. It's very, very cute.
He's been doing this with me all day, actually. He's been super sleepy today.
Get a couple of pictures because I have to.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did. Best viewers again. Oh my god. I love it when you random bots try and offer me people to buy views. It ain't gonna happen. So where is the PST? It's in the hangar. We can't get in the hangar either. I know you're stuck in engineering, Cathays, but the story's the same for the entire ship. Another silence follows, longer this time. That's true if you're trying to get to the hangar from inside the ship, ma'am. But the gun dock has two entrances that can be activated entirely manually. The main onboarding airlock and the hangar crew airlock. If someone left the ship via the onboarding airlock, they could make their way to the crew airlock for the hangar and re-enter there. Then they could get the PST and make their way through the ship as normal. I see. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Engineer Cathays, but aren't yourself and Cadet Grange the only crew on board qualified for extravehicular activity in space?
What time did we have dinner?
5:30
Okay.
or so. Why?
Just checking so I know when to take another triangle.
Okay. Yeah, would have been like 5:30, 5:45-ish. It wasn't very late. So obviously,
I know it wasn't 6 o'clock.
no, it was long before 6. And you're currently stuck in engineering whilst we can't get in contact with Cadet Grange to just bring us the PST? Yes, ma'am. You begin to feel a knot in your gut and internally curse at Dalton for not having picked up enough of the Chief's know-how to have found an emergency radio of his own. And policy dictates that all EVA needs to be commanded by an operations officer. The knot in your stomach tightens as you take a deep breath in. Vanessa's eyes are now locked on you. Yes, ma'am. The slightest hint of a smile forms on Vanessa's face. Well, Lieutenant, it looks like you're going for a walk. You'd seen this coming as soon as the Chief had begun outlining the plan, but you'd been hoping that there'd been some extra part that hadn't been revealed yet, something that would allow you to stay on board. Faced with Vanessa's directness, the knot in your stomach tightens further. A sense of nausea rises from your gut. Fine. Some people took well to spacewalks. Some even enjoyed them so much they'd take on careers in colony construction and repair, where they'd spend more time in the vacuum of space than they did inside the colony or on ships. You were not one of those people. You'd only ever left the confines of a ship or a colony a few times in your life, and almost all of those had been evacuation drills that you'd been through in school or during citizenry courses. On every occasion that you could remember, you'd reacted badly, but managed to keep it to yourself. Something about being out in the void, an attachment clip or handrail away from drifting off into the endless nothingness of space had always filled you with dread. The knowledge that you were a slip away from disappearing forever, irretrievable and helpless. But despite all that, you knew full well from Vanessa's discussion with the Chief that there was not going to be any way around doing this, and right now you were this ship's, Cassie's, only hope. As much as you hated the thought of it, you pushed back against the fear that had been rising up inside you. Taking a deep breath, you resigned yourself to what you had to do. Fine, I'll do it. The Chief can walk me through everything that I need to know on my way over to the airlock. The dashing security officer diving headfirst into danger. Isn't he great, Lieutenant Commander Quinn? So selfless. Vanessa rolls her eyes, covering her mouth with the back of her hand and putting on a mocking tone. Oh, my hero. So brave, going into space to save us. Only you can... You snatch the radio off of Vanessa and turn your back on her, heading towards the maintenance crawlway. At this point, you've had just about all you can take of her, so the sooner the situation is resolved, you decide, the sooner you can go back to avoiding her. Oh, quit making a big deal of this with all your huffing and puffing, Lieutenant. From what I've heard, hanging out in space is something of a pastime of yours. Well, that's just rude. With that comment, you feel like your heart's dropped out of your chest. You quickly spin back to face Vanessa. Lieutenant. Reining in the flash of anger you just felt, you silently shake your head as you turn back around and grab hold of the first rung of the crawlway's ladder. Chief, I'm on my way to the airlock now. Walk me through what I need to know. Wait! With one hand still on the ladder's rung, you pause and turn around. Yes, Lieutenant Lord. You just about managed to ask through gritted teeth. Don't you think you're forgetting something? Doing your best to suppress the urge to scream that you can feel building inside your chest, you pause for a moment and stare at Lieutenant Lord, trying to puzzle out what kind of mind game she's playing. Lieutenant Lord, if there's... Before you finish your sentence... Vanessa rolls her eyes and turns on her heels, walking back over to Cassandra and squatting down. You almost yell out when Vanessa lays her hand on Cassie's hip, but you stop when you see her withdrawing a keycard from Cassie's skirt pocket. Holding it between her thumb and forefinger with a flourish, she waves it at you as she stands up and walks back over to you. The central computer can only be accessed by the captain or members of operations. Good luck getting in there without this. Vanessa casually tosses you the card, which you grab out of the air. You got Cassandra's keycard. You turn the card over in your hand a few times before pocketing it. But the chief said that the PST used the battery power to open. I can see what you and her see in each other. As if hooking up a battery to the door would get you around the ship's security systems. You're still going to need to have the right authority levels to get through. Honestly. At this point, your jaw is clenched so hard it feels like your teeth may crack at any second. But with the cold chill of the ladder rung reminding you just how dire the situation is, you turn your back around. Thank you, Lieutenant. You just about manage. Still there, Chief. I'm heading to the airlock now. Briefly, I must be right back, for I require a urination. Be back soon. Hello, puppy. And I return. I needed that. I also have a dog on my shoulder, apparently. Hello, Stinky. How are you? She's so sweet and stinky and sour. There she goes. You gonna cuddle down, or are you just gonna stand there with your ass in my face? Have you gotten the radio coming through the helmet speakers, Lieutenant? The Chief's voice fills your helmet. The sound quality somehow worse than the speaker on the main radio unit itself. Loud and clear, Chief. Just full-on asshole right in my face. Thank you. You respond, securing the radio to the suit's breast panel. You've got the emergency suit on and sealed? Yeah, currently breathing in the suit's oxygen supply. What now? Do you see the access panel next to the internal airlock hatch? The spacesuit's helmet is attached to the rest of the suit in a fixed position, so although you turn your head to check, all you can see is the helmet's exterior. You turn your whole body in an exaggerated motion to look for the emergency access panel, and spot it on the other side of the hatch. I see it, Chief. I'm heading over now. Alright, you'll need to remove the panel in the same way that you did for the one on the bridge. Once you've got it off, you'll see a large handle. Cranking that lever operates the manual override. That will open the hatch to the airlock. Understood. Although you had to learn to operate the airlock manually in basic training, you didn't feel that now was the time to dismiss the Chief and act like a know-it-all. She was likely getting her fill of that from Lieutenant Lord. You kneel down by the panel and attempt to find the gap between its edge and the surrounding wall. This is made a lot harder by the thick material of your suit. Bomb in the air! Puppy bomb in the air! Nibble in my hand. Yeah, got the billy. After a few attempts to find it, the tip of your glove catches on in the recess. You work your digits in more until you find the catch that you can squeeze. Oh, she's chewing on my hand, my mouse hand. The panel falls away from the wall, and you take hold of it, placing it to the side. Underneath is a long handle marked emergency use only. Alright, that's the access panel out of the way. I see the handle. Good. Now you're going to want to turn it anti-clockwise and keep going until the hatch is open. Understood. Placing your left hand at the bottom of the handle and your right hand at the top, you apply as much force as you can to push it clockwise. Your initial heave barely moves it, despite your effort. Come on. You grip the handle again and place your entire body weight behind your effort to shift it. This time it moves more noticeably, but when you look at the airlock hatch, it doesn't appear to have opened at all. With another grunt, you push the lever at the full 90 degrees, allowing it to return to its neutral position. Although it still resists you, you're able to feel the ratchet mechanism beginning to move. You push the handle 90 degrees again before letting it reset. You adjust your grip and push the handle again. Easy. You complain through gritted teeth as you feel the mechanism slowly but surely moving a little bit each time. As you carry on this process of straining against the mechanism, you complete crank after crank. You can hear the mechanism of the airlock groan and strain with each turn. Eventually, something gives and the mechanisms in the airlock uncouple, releasing their locks and the whole thing slides open. Ooh, look at it go. You can feel the sweat on your brow and curse that you'd put the suit on beforehand, preventing you from wiping it off. That other streamer that we were talking to last week is also currently on here, also streaming Gundog, and she's got a notification that's saying new life goal slap Vanessa, which is currently where I'm starting to get to.
What are you demanding now?
Everything.
Want me to throw this?
You can feel the sweat on your brow and curse
Yeah,
it is.
it's so gross.
Of course it is.
It's not dirty.
Okay, Chief, I'm heading into the airlock chamber. What's next? Perhaps it needs a wash? Yeah. Rub it in your face. You'll see a similar panel on the opposite end of the hatch inside the chamber. Same deal, but in reverse.
It's so cute when she gives us her toys. It feels like the ultimate trust, like when she bears her belly.
Yeah, it is. Makes sense, okay. Research Ninja, that's who I was talking to. I think she's currently ahead of me, so I'd better avoid that stream, otherwise I run the risk of spoiling myself. Once inside the airlock chamber, you spot an identical access panel and quickly get to work. Unfortunately, it's just as hard to close the hatch as it was to open it. Interior hatch is closed. Now what? You try to keep your breathing under control as the inside of your helmet begins to heat up, reminding you of another reason you've never been fond of them. What you're going to need to do next will be to vent the air in the chamber and then open the exterior hatch. To start with, the Chief walks you step by step through the process required. Although you remember most of this from training, you're thankful for the help as a few parts had slipped your mind. You carry on following the Chief's orders until, with one final monumental heave, you get the external hatch open. You step away from the lever and head over to the opening. Seeing the stars in front of you, rather than through a terminal or view screen, fills you with the familiar dread you'd felt on the bridge. Alright, Chief. I'm heading out. Pressing firmly on a switch on the suit's breast panel, you hear a momentary high-pitched whine as the soles of the boots are drawn toward the airlock floor. With the electromagnets now active, each step is an effort, but at least you know you won't go hurtling into space. Oh damn, that's a screen. You place one foot right on the edge of the airlock hatch and stare out into the emptiness. You see nothing but stars, with light years of gulf between them and you. With your next step, you head out into the nothingness, pivoting on the axis of your foot at the edge of the airlock. The step that you took into space brings your foot back down on the Gundog's exterior hull. Even though the ship had fallen silent since its power had been knocked offline, that hadn't been true silence. There'd been the echo of your footsteps, the almost inaudible sounds of things other crew members were doing in the far-off reaches of the ship. Out here, all you could hear was your own breathing and the whine of the magnets. You take a moment to orient yourself and turn 90 degrees to your right, angling yourself toward the front of the ship. With a little difficulty, you bring one foot up and away from the hull and place it back down in front of you. Slowly but steadily, you make your way toward the hangar airlock. Still with us, Lieutenant Finch? Haven't gone hurtling off into space or anything? You roll your eyes as you plod forwards. Still here, Lieutenant Lord. Good, good. What's your ETA on the hangar airlock? You quickly do some rough maths around what you know about the Gundog's dimensions. Airlock's around the midpoint of the ship, 250 meters long, about 5 minutes, Lieutenant. This isn't a Sunday afternoon stroll at the replica gardens, Finch. Pick up the pace. You allow yourself the opportunity to curse it openly and finesse it before hitting the push-to-talk button again. Yes, ma'am. You carry on the laborious march to the hangar's crew airlock, slowly heaving one foot at a time away from the ship's hull before placing it back down in front of you. There are a few awkward areas where the ship's hull rises or falls, and you have to navigate your way across them. The loss of a constant bearing begins to disorient you, but you march onward, ensuring that you're heading consistently in a straight line, regardless of orientation. Eventually, you see the distinct markings that indicate an airlock hatch in the distance. Although it's marked in the same way as the one you'd emerged from, this one is much smaller, scarcely bigger than the typical doorway inside the Gundog. You enjoy a momentary celebration, then pick up the pace. All right, Chief. I'm at the hangar crew airlock. Okay, if you look to the right of the door, you should see an access panel with a lever underneath, just like the others. Okay, let's see. Due to your orientation from standing on the ship's hull, the airlock entryway is laid out at your feet. You shift yourself to be able to look to the right and see the panel through which you head over to and squat down in front of, running your fingers around its edges to find the now familiar reset. With a practiced movement, you undo the clip. Unlike the panels inside the ship that freely come away, this one swings on a hinge, revealing the lever underneath. Hopefully this should be easier on a smaller hatch. You mutter yourself, reaching for the lever. Chief? What is it? It's the lever. You run your hand a few more times over the lever, which is visible, but inlaid into the hull, perfectly level with its surroundings. Whereas you've been able to remove the panel cover by finding the recess, there was nothing like that here, making grasping the lever impossible. I can't get any purchase on it. It's completely flush with the hull. There's no way to grip it. Chief? Lieutenant Lord, do you know what the current security code is? Of course I don't. They're the emergency input codes. Only the captain or the second in command knows them. Why? Chief Engineer Cathays, I asked you a question. There's a moment of radio static, but you can hear the chief's sigh through the crackle and distortion. In order to gain access to an airlock from outside, you need to input the ship's security code into the number pad. It's an analog locking mechanism, but you still need that code. God damn it! God damn it, God damn it, God damn it, you miserable excuse for a captain. God damn you, Quinn, you absolute airheaded bit. Hey, watch yourself, Lord. Oh, shut up, Finch. Because of your stupid bimbo girlfriend deciding that now's a great time to take a nap, I'm stuck on a dead ship running out of air. Trying to herd you knuckleheads around on stupid, pointless errands. Wow. Stow it. I'm not a big fan of this either, But right now, you're the best hope this ship's got. So if you could put a lid on the gigantic bitch act for a few minutes and help us figure out how to solve this, we can... How dare you? Another very good Johnism. I said stow it. 5 minutes, Lieutenant Lord. Then once I'm on board, I can handle the rest of it myself. Then you can go back to pretending you're the most important crew member. This is insubordination. I'll have... All right, you two, that's enough. Both you and Vanessa snap into silence with the chief's interjection. Before either of you can start up again, she carries on in a commanding tone. Lieutenant Lord, you know how long the security code is. Do you know the punishment for addressing a senior officer like that? No, ma'am, I do not. But if it gets Lieutenant Finch on board any sooner, I'll say it's worth it. Do you know how long it is? It's 4 digits. Thank you. Now, do you have any idea? Of course I don't have any idea. It's Quinn's responsibility to generate and set those kinds of codes. Oh, by the way, if you ever want access to my quarters, the passcode for the Luxor anniversary, it's pretty much the same passcode I use for everything. 0211. I think I might know it. What? I said I think I might know it. It's... You rack your brain trying to remember the date where you and Cassie first visited the Europa amusement park. It was... You quickly punch in the 4-digit security code and then hit enter, the enter key. As soon as you do, the lever rises out of its recess. Haha, yes. You've got it, Lieutenant? Yeah, it was 0211, in case that helps. And how did you know that what the security code was? That is sensitive information. You don't want to tell Vanessa the reason you were able to guess the code, that it was yours and Cassie's anniversary, so instead you scramble for a lie. It's, the passcode for Lieutenant Commander Quinn's quarters. I can't believe it. These codes are supposed to be secure. How could she... For the time being, Lieutenant Lord, how about we just focus on the fact that I'm able to get into the hangar? Shifting your position away from the number pad, you squat down by the raised lever. Taking it in both hands, you find it much easier to crank than the ones in the main airlock, and in no time at all, the exterior hatch of the airlock is open. As you step inside the ship, you find yourself in a chamber almost identical to the airlock you left earlier, with the exception that it was much smaller. Moving quickly now, you close the exterior hatch behind you and following the inverse process you'd carried out to leave the ship, pressurizing the chamber with oxygen and opening the internal hatch. In a few short minutes, you're back inside the familiar space of the ship's hangar, and you remove your helmet, happy to be breathing something other than the suit's oxygen supply. You then disengage the electromagnets before removing the suit completely, making sure to take the radio with you. Now unencumbered by its bulk, and in the low gravity of the hangar, you gently drift towards the equipment storage, the uneasy silence surrounding you. Look over here, tools, equipment, and supplies. The portable subterminal the chief mentioned should be in there somewhere. I guess I should get looking. The armored frames are powered by internal generators, so they're one of the few things on the ship that will still work. Not much use, though, since they'd need to tear their way out of the hangar to get anywhere. Is that not where, surely... What's his face should be in there? None of that's doing me any good right now. I have to look through the crates by hand. Let's see, if that PST is going to be anywhere, it'll be amongst all the stowed equipment and gear, so... In the darkness, the collection of stacked or suspended crates, containers, and various pieces of heavy machinery looms intimidatingly. Looking from container to container, you realize that none of them are marked in a way that makes any sense to the uninitiated. Shaking your head, you reach for the radio to ask the chief where you'd be able to find it. Before you can call her, you hear the rustle of a jumpsuit's fabric behind you, moments before a wavering voice demands, "Stop right there, intruder! Identify yourself!" You raise your hand slowly, being careful not to make any sudden movements. Dalton had done surprisingly well to get the drop on you, and if he was under the impression you were the enemy, he should be armed to confront you like this. At ease, cadet. It's me, Lieutenant Finch. Oh, Lieutenant, I'm sorry. I thought that... Turning around slowly, hand still raised, you smile. Don't worry about it. You did good to sneak up on me like that, if I was the enemy. Pausing mid-sentence, you sigh as you realize that Dalton isn't actually holding a firearm. Cadet, where's your weapon? Sir? If I had been the enemy, what were you planning on making me do without a weapon for encouragement? Dalton pauses briefly, and you see realization flash in his eyes. Ah, sorry, I didn't think that... Well, I thought that... Which is... Ease up, Dalton. When this is all sorted out, go over anti-boarding procedures, okay? Yes, thank you, sir. Although, what exactly is going on, Lieutenant? I was just finishing up something when all the power went out. I haven't been able to get in touch with anyone. It takes you a few minutes, but you quickly fill Dalton in on the events taking place on board the ship, including your current objective of obtaining the portable sub-terminal. The emergency suit radios. Why didn't I think of that? Ah! The chief's got to be so mad. She was teaching me suit maintenance just last week. Ah! Hey, take it easy, Cadet. No one else on the ship figured it out on their own either, so don't beat yourself up over it. I guess. So don't worry about that. What we need to do now is find the PST. Do you know where it's kept? I think so. Let me look. With a kick against the container next to him, Dalton propels himself towards a set of smaller crates. Once he arrives, you watch as he opens one, rummages through various bits of electronic adjacent-looking hardware, which he fastidiously replaces before closing the lid and moving on to the one next to it. It takes the cadet checking a few different storage crates before eventually he withdraws a device the size of a briefcase. With it firmly in hand, he slowly drifts back towards you, presenting it once back. Here we go, Lieutenant. This is what you're after. You got the portable sub-terminal. So this is the portable sub-terminal, huh? You take the hefty device from Dalton and turn it over a few times to investigate it from different angles. The exterior is largely one off-white plastic shell with a handle attached, allowing you to carry it like a briefcase. The one visible seam that runs around the entire casing has two conspicuous clasps that you release, causing part of the device to fold out, revealing a keyboard alongside various screens, buttons, disk drives, and withdrawable cables. Alright, Cadet, can you give me a quick rundown of how to use this? Yes, sir. I guess the entry to the thoroughfare would be a good place to try it out. Sounds better than going for another walk outside the ship. Let's go. The two of you make your way through the hangar and up the flights of stairs that lead to the foresight thoroughfare. Once at the top, you're faced with the unyielding set of double doors. And that seems like an ideal place to stop for tonight, as my time is up. But I guess we shall find out what happens and how we get out and what the hell has caused all this next week. This has still been a very fun time. My only real complaint that I have about this game so far is just simply the lack of commas. I've already explained this to John about how a lot of his sentences are a little bit too run-on, and I mean, you've heard me trip over a few myself as I've gone along. But aside from that, this game is great. It's atmospheric. It's simple, but deep. There's a lot of shit going on. You're able to see a lot, and the characters are pretty distinct and interesting so far, even though I've only met a few of them, like, for extended periods of time. The majority of them, obviously, like the captain and what's his name in the fire room, the doctor and all, obviously a lot quicker, but a lot briefer times, but they certainly leave their marks. So 9 out of 10 writing so far, I'd say, and obviously the music and the art is phenomenal anyway. As before, I will drop the social links, socials and such, in the descriptions for the YouTube video and whatnot. Obviously the writer for this is a good friend John Durham of Space Colony Studios, so please check that out. He can be found over at Blue Sky at Space Colony Studios. The artist is Butzman Savage, who can be found at K Butts Corner, which is KButzKorner.bsky.social. Yes, that is his name that I have been told to call him by. Butzman Savage.
I spoke Peanut in the eye, she was not phased.
Oh yeah, she doesn't seem to care.
Why do dogs not care about
There's
that?
Boba T-Ball. And the composer is a man named Daniel, who goes by Flumby Dumby on Blue Sky, which is FLUMBEEDUMBEE.bsky.social. please go and follow them and check out their stuff and keep following them for more, because as I mentioned last time, there will be more in this. This is part of a very long overarching story that I know he has envisioned for this universe, so there will be more to come. So please check this out. It's available on Steam, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, all of the good shit. Pick it up. It's well worth your time, well worth the investment. And yeah, also thank you very much for watching. Do you have anything else you would like to add, Ben? No? Okay. In that case, I hope that you all have yourselves a good week. I hope that none of you are forced to make spacewalks unprompted, and that you don't get stuck in situations where all your power goes out, because God knows I've been through enough of that lately with my place. And yeah, I will see you either next Tuesday for some more Final Fantasy VII, or next Thursday for some more of this masterpiece. Possibly even this weekend, actually. I might do one of them on the weekend if I've got some spare time, just because I'm hooked on both, obviously. But yes, so until next time.